wear my hair down to my back, or I call.
Hello, welcome to Two Mad Beans podcast. A new week, a new episode, and today I have Hamdalah Mumuni. I've been dying to see this particular lady. It's been a while. We have been chatting on WhatsApp. I know I've been watching her status. She has a lot of knowledge. A qualified journalist, a YouTuber. So she has a YouTube page. You have to follow her. It's called Walaho TV. WALAHO, then TV. So she hosts a lot of subjects concerning women. Okay, she wants to empower women. And hers is different from the quote-unquote cliche kind of female gender advocate that we see around these days, who are not quite fair, but hers, she's very fair. So you need to follow her YouTube channel. Welcome, Hamdalah.
Thank you.
Hope you're doing well.
I'm great.
So today, the growing culture of entitlement among Ghanaian youth. So before we start the questions and answers, when I sent you this particular topic, how was it feeling like?
I felt so great within me because it's a topic that the whole world, especially the youth, need to hear about and need to learn a lot. The word entitlement is beyond the dictionary definition of entitlement. Mm-hmm. So a lot goes into it. Mm-hmm. So I was very glad.
Cool. So today, let's start. What is entitlement?
According to dictionary or myself?
Either way.
Okay, so the dictionary says that the fact of having a right to something. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the word something is relative. Mm-hmm. What could be a thing, a big deal to me, could be different to you. Mm-hmm. So in simple context, according to me, mm-hmm. I'd say entitlement is ownership.
Okay. So I have issues with Ghanaian youth these days with entitlement. Okay. So morally and ethically, is it wrong for someone to be entitled?
It is absolutely not wrong for someone to be entitled, depending on the context of the entitlement the person is taking it to.
So the moral context? So
the moral context has to do with our culture, our religion, mm-hmm. what society is expectant of us. Mm-hmm. So today, society has elaborated and given us some criteria to meet before we get accepted. Mm-hmm. So once you find yourself within what society wants you to be, then society accepts you. Then you feel entitled to something in society, or you feel entitled to the society. Mm-hmm. That's morally. Mm-hmm. And ethically, I think ethical is an external something. Mm-hmm. It is just rules and regulations or guidelines put together that people feel, an organization or people feel people should be doing, or the youth or generally should be apt to. Mm-hmm. And I think it's not wrong to be entitled in either way, but the context at which we take it determines if it's wrong or right.
Okay. It makes sense. So the moral fiber of our society is increasingly deteriorating, especially with the high level of entitlement among the youth. Mm. What might be the cause of this?
Okay, so the high level of entitlement within the youth, the major cause, mm-hmm. it is acceptance. We want to be accepted. We yearn for recognition. Mm-hmm. That is the cause of it. So you want to be recognized and accepted so bad that you do just anything society expects of you without considering the consequences, without considering yourself, and without considering people and things around you. But lest I forget, to be accepted in society, you have to accept yourself first. That is what the youth don't do today. And that's the problem. To be accepted is to believe in you. It's to be you. So if society can't accept me as I am, why should I pray for society to accept me as I am not? So you see, the major problem here is belongingness. We want to belong. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's a problem. It shouldn't be so.
But don't you also think that society is the cause of this? Because society is not putting much pressure on the youth to perform or deliver, or at certain ages they have to look certain way or become certain way. So we are all in a rush to become what society wants us to be.
Exactly.
And the same society also wants us to be in line.
Exactly. You see, the question mark here is, who is society? What makes society?
ourselves.
And from the pressure you're talking about comes from peer pressure, which is a different kind of society within the extent society we have ourselves. So at large, you realize that, okay, my friends are married, I have to marry. And I feel like I'm entitled to any man of my choice who falls within the criteria or the characters I've set for myself. But don't get it twisted, you don't always get what you want. Are you ready to accept loss? Are you ready to accept rejection? If no, then why do you follow the crowd?
Okay. Yeah.
And the crowd is a society. So understanding what society is, understand the kind of people that make society, understand what society you want to belong to, because we have different societies too, should be something we need to consider as a people or as a youth.
Yeah. I love that. So what does the Quran say about the spirit of entitlement? You're a Muslim.
Yes. So the Quran is fair enough to give everybody their right to feel entitled to what is right, what you deem fit right for yourself. I hear a lot of people say that the Quran is a limitation to women. They don't let women get entitled to certain things that society is supposed to get us entitled to, but that is all wrong. As a woman, I'm entitled to whatever a woman should do, whatever society is expected of me. The Quran accepts that. And as a man, you're also entitled to things men do. So that is here, that's the problem I have with feminists of today. We don't highlight it, we don't educate ourselves, we don't broaden it. So at large, the Quran talks very positive about entitlement. You have to be entitled to yourself, entitled to the religion to be able to worship. You have to accept you. You have to accept the religion. You have to find yourself within it. You can't say you are a Muslim or you want Islam and you're not entitled to its rules and regulations. So you see, it has to go hand in hand. You have to be intertwined with the religion. So yes.
It makes sense. Psychologists say entitlement is born out of one's personality trait based on beliefs that they deserve some privileges and recognition for things they didn't earn. Do we blame religion and our culture for this?
Yes, highly.
Why?
But we blame it in the context of misinterpretation of what entitlement is, of what religion or the culture really demands of us. So personal traits, it talks about that, and we are individuals. We all don't come from the same home. We all don't have the same financial status. We all don't have the same background, the same education and all. But why are we all looking up to one society to drive us, or one culture or one religion to drive us? So I think I agree with society better than I agree with the religion and the culture, because it makes you understand that you have to accept oneself first. Personal trait, that's what it says. It highlights it for you, personality traits, which is very important and something we should look at. So if I come from a home that, okay, we have 1 square meal, that is where I come from, and I feel entitled to the meal. But when I go to an environment or a society where they're entitled to 3 square meal and I have 1, I think the issue of contentment comes here. So being content and trying to look beyond what society and culture wants and looking deep down into us should be very important. Yeah.
When it comes to gender, has entitlement favored one gender more than the other?
No. No one is entitled to anything. As earlier stated at the psychology aspect, that being entitled to something you haven't earned. If I go to school and I earn the title of doctor, yes, I expect everybody to call me a doctor, but no one just sees your face and knows you're a doctor. So if someone doesn't call you Dr. Hamdalah or Dr. blah blah, you shouldn't feel offended, because you're not entitled to the word doctor. It's just a title. That's the question mark we have here.
So earlier on, earlier on you shared a story about you going for a competition and you came pegged with a guy.
Yeah.
And the judges wanted to give you the title because you're a woman. And these days, the reality these days is that most young ladies feel so much entitled because they are women.
Yes.
And they believe that the world is not fair to them.
Yes.
So anything concerning a man and a woman, we should consider more of the woman than the man. Okay. So with you went for a competition. It was tight. Yes. And the judge said, okay, let's give it to Hamdalah because she's a female, and you rejected it.
Yes.
That you should keep on going to see you find a winner.
Yes.
And eventually became the winner.
Yes.
So why that? Why didn't you accept the trophy?
Okay, so if I should accept the trophy as a winner because I'm a woman, I come in tight with the man. Why don't I accept it when the man is also trying to voice over me in society that he's the man, I'm the woman, and I'm vulnerable? You see the distinction here? So as ladies or as women, sorry to say, our lack of knowledge in what we really are, our lack of reading, our ignorance has taken us to a stage where you feel entitled to everything in society because you're a woman, or you feel like you should be favored. But I beg to differ, though I'm a woman, but I strongly disagree, because if all that should happen, if we should feel entitled as women, then we should also allow the men to feel entitled as men and rule over us and be the head without problems, without making noise about equality, without making noise about giving opportunities, without making noise. If you can't bring 50% of the water bill, don't expect the man to come home at the same time you come. Don't expect the same pay. So you want to be giving the CEO of blah blah blah. The man is giving you blah blah, you're making noise. By the end of the salary, you realize that the man's money goes more into the matrimonial duties. Though it's a few and rare cases you find a woman doing most, which I really appreciate and adore those women. But in such cases, the cases that we don't accept ourselves as different genders, let's appreciate our uniqueness as females and your uniqueness as males and live according to it. That is how peace becomes into society. But I don't think this topic entitlement has given more heads up to one gender. No.
So looking at your case study with your competition, the competition you went for, the teachers over there were like the gatekeepers of our society.
Yes.
And they felt like, no, you should take the award, you should take the trophy. So what do you also make of this? That our society somehow also makes it more normal for women to complain and also feel entitled to certain privileges than men. Okay. So they thought that you are being quite stubborn. Yeah. Difficult.
They actually thought I was being too knowing. So my teachers who went with me to certain stage wanted me to lose so that they will all go, because everybody was tired. But we kept on going and on going. And I wanted to be worth the award I was taking. I wanted to go home and be able to tell my mom or my father that, yo, parents, I got this and I'm proud. I didn't want to go and say that, okay, I got this award and I'll put it down and move. And the reason would be like, I don't feel good within me because they gave me as a woman. I wanted to deserve it. I didn't want to be favored.
Now let's come to the guy you won the trophy over.
Yes.
He also didn't feel good.
He didn't feel good because he didn't understand why something as precious as this you were easily given, but you reject it to go on.
Don't you believe that in our society, when a man gives privileges to a woman, you are termed as a gentleman. You are termed as more morally upright because you know how to take care of a woman, you know how to respect a woman. So she felt within that, okay, let me give the trophy to Hamdalah, and that will make me a gentleman. Okay,
so if that's making you a gentleman and feeling good and it doesn't make me feel good, should I still accept it? No, I wouldn't accept it.
Yeah,
but just a few would think extra beyond the award. But this gentleman was uncomfortable the whole of our term in school. That was SHS 2 at Elite College. The whole of the term was uncomfortable and didn't understand my way of doing things. But at the long run, I made him understand that it is not gender that should distinct or differentiate us. but you have to work for something.
Yeah.
You have to earn it. You have to be able to boast with it. I don't want a situation whereby I can't go somewhere talking and I won't talk about, like today. I wouldn't have been able to talk about it had I not done the right thing.
Yeah, true.
So, I wasn't, society, I'm not entitled to society that society should see that I should win. I'm trying as a woman, I'm trying. So they should see that we are not the same, he's stronger than me. If that is the case, then I should accept it if he's coming at me too. I shouldn't complain of maltreatment, of men seeing me to be a sexist or a sex object and all that. Then I also take it to be normal.
Yeah.
Can
we highlight some damages self-entitlement has caused?
Self-entitlement has caused a lot of damages. Disappointment, depression, low self-esteem, society at large. It has breed a lot of criminals and a lot of wrong people, wrong leaders for us at large.
For the leaders part, I love that part. Yeah.
And in fact, you find out that these parliamentarians we have, how many of them are able to objectively assess themselves in the society and the people they rule?
Yeah, it makes sense.
They feel like they're entitled to the title of an MP, of a minister, of a president, that they don't think down for us. They don't think about us. Which is a problem, which is a question mark. They are from different cultural backgrounds. We have Northerners, we have Airways, we have Southerners, and the likes. Which are from different cultural background, different home upbringing. Most of them, I bet you, haven't even attended school in Ghana. So they don't even know the Ghanaian system of education. They only read in books, but they don't know the reality. But we have attended schools and know the reality. We have known that, Charlie, to get an exercise book to school, it is not just about one CD. That one CD can do a lot for us.
Yeah, true.
We have gone through and know that it's not about reading and answer blah 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 or none of the accident crane. I read that book in class 4 about that and all. But outside there, that's not what goes on there. They only read the books and know our educational system, and know our health system, and know our agricultural status and all. Do they go to the field? Do they experience it? So I think with our leaders, the criteria for choosing should be that you should go through the system. To know, to feel it within, so that when they are sitting up there making decisions, they put themselves in our shoes.
Yeah, so yesterday I was thinking about something. I was thinking about our educational system currently from junior high to senior high school. And I was thinking that most of people ruling us these days, both the opposition people and people in power now, their children don't go to the free junior high school. They go to high standard schools where things are really working there. But most junior high schools, which is free now, things don't really work. So I was thinking that to make things better working at the junior high school, every person holding power in Ghana should be mandated to put their case through the same system that we are also going through. You getting me? Because these guys are putting their case at JIS, at blah 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 blah, all these top schools paying dollars. And then average Ghanaian is putting the kid through the free senior high school.
So they don't feel the pain.
There's no library over there. The food over there is some way for them. They can't even complain. So let's put these children also there. These big men children, let's put them also there for them to feel. When they are there, I think it will spark them to work more on educational system than's happening.
It's a good idea, but don't forget that when you go to school, your life in school is just few hours. When they go home, life is still different from the average Ghanaian. My mother always said, even when we were kids and going to primary schools, that there is no bad school and there is no bad student. Okay,
explain.
That is, if a student or if you train your children to go out there and fetch and look for what they want, they will. There is no school that is bad. It is the students that make the school. So if the school is bad, the students are bad. And there is no bad students too, because if the teachers are good, the students will be good. So you realize that home upbringing is not about home. It is school too. Someone like me, I grew up in a boarding house. From primary school, I went to St. Monica's Primary School. I went to St. Monica's Junior High School. It's a boarding house too. So I've been away. So whatever I've become today whether good or bad, you can't blame my parents. You can only applaud them for trying to put me upright and advise me. And I could only be applauded to if I accepted their good advice and become who I am today. Mm-hmm. So I realize that it's beyond just putting their kids in that school. Because if my kids have gone through same, and my father that is dead didn't put me there, I'm an MP today, do I still have the experience? Mm-hmm. What their children would tell them is different from what they would experience.
Yeah.
You know, children, we are all about comfortability. Mm-hmm. Mama should be able to buy me this. Mama should buy me new shoes and all of that. That is the story of every Ghanaian. Mm-hmm. Even those who cannot afford 1 meal still want new sandals, new books, and it's okay.
No.
Just that you have to live within your means. So I think with the issues of the Ghanaian leaders putting their words there and all that, we should just hope and encourage them. They structure it, not to wait to experience. Because trust me, they will never experience it. It is past. They won't do it.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. How do we resolve this spirit of self-entitlement?
So, self-acceptance, contentment, and self-belief. If you're able to accept yourself as you are, accept yourself that I grew up from this society, accept yourself that this is my personality trait, and I have flaws and weaknesses, I have strengths. So I'd rather shine my strength and work at my weaknesses and be able to control them as human and be able to be content. Look, let's live in contentment. Let's be content with ourselves. Don't live beyond you. Don't rush to live the life you can't afford. Life is a process. When it gets to the time you buy those Apple laptops, those Apple phones, which are not even the measurement for life living, those cars and those self-contained houses, you will. But once, for the meantime, you don't have it, live within your means and push. And self-belief. Believe in you. Don't wait for society to believe in you. Don't wait to live life that society has to accept you. If society cannot accept me as a journalist or as an outspoken woman, I don't care about society. But I care about myself because I have to accept myself and live because I can't afford to buy a car. So I come all the way to this studio with either my Trotsky, my taxi if I can afford, or my Uber if I can afford. It is not by force to be a journalist and be riding flashy cars. I can't afford it. It's a fact. So self-belief, contentment, and accepting oneself will do a lot of good.
Yeah. True. Who are the players who have enormous role to play in our society to fight against the spirit of entitlement? The players in this battle.
Ourselves. We are the players. We are the key holders. Personally, we are. I won't blame it or I won't give it to societal leaders or cultural leaders or religious leaders and all. See, these people have a life of their own too. They are from different backgrounds too, different experiences, different educational backgrounds. The school I went is different from the school they went. I did communications in school, journalism to be specific. But that religious leader didn't do communications so. He or she did science or social studies. Someone different did maths, someone did business and all. So realize that we cannot depend on just some people to guide us or to hold the key or the door for us to pass through. So as humans, as individuals, we have a key role to play for ourselves. That goes back to my previous answer about acceptance and self-control.
What's our family?
Our family, I want to blame it large on our family because someone like me, right from childhood, I've been living alone. Just family once a while. So the family can do less for you. You only grow up into a family and hope that, okay, this is my family. This is the religion they belong to. I either accept to be with them or I want a different religion. That is liberty. Or no one has attended school in my family, but I want to go to school. It's a different issue too. My family, they have a chieftaincy title, but I don't want to be a prince or a princess, or I don't want to have anything to do with chieftaincy. It is a personal choice. So entitlement is individually, like it has something to do with the individual differences rather than the collective differences. Our family play a key role from our infancy. My mother always said, for a child to have a good education, it is a start. And the start is from the home. Be able to teach your child that Hamdi, 1 + 1 is 2. When he or she goes to school, you've learned 1 + 1 is 2 from home already. So when a teacher is teaching you, you think of how to develop or go beyond the 1 + 1, which makes it 2. So it is right from the scratch, and we are all not always fortunate to get good families. We are all not always fortunate to get well-to-do families. We are all not always fortunate to get families that are interested in education and enlightenment. Some are from families that don't support education at all. Some are from families that don't have the money. What will you do? But you go to school, you see people living a life you want to live. What will you do at that instance? So we owe ourselves individually as people beyond family. Yeah. So I was still stand strong with the individual support yourself individually. Yeah.
Awesome. Before we go,
okay,
I had a great time with you. I'm honored that you came on this podcast. I've been dying to have you on this podcast. So, Hamdalah, your closing remarks.
Okay, so I'm grateful that of all the people you have on your contact list, of all the people you know, you chose me for this topic. I am thankful to you that my views are not just important to you, but you want your listeners to hear it out too. And again, I'm grateful to you for giving me this opportunity to split my mind, even if it's not the best. So I urge your viewers to keep listening for the best, because I've been following you, and trust me, I haven't regretted so far.
Thanks.
It's always been great, and keep doing more.
Thanks. So I want my listeners to also be your listeners on your YouTube channel, Walaho TV. So just share something about your channel.
Okay, so Walaho TV is a channel that seeks to give you content, interesting content for that matter. And we are starting with gender issues. And gender issues is not just feminism issues or equality issues. I am going beyond that. I feel like we don't need equality. We don't need to be equals to make the country great. We need to accept ourselves as females, and the male to accept themselves as males, to be able to live in coexistence. So I am urging that I'm able to educate people more on these issues and enlighten them. And at large, we are coming up with a Walaho Foundation.
Nice.
A foundation that as school is coming up, yes, school is free now for people, but do they have the learning materials? Some villages, I understand, use one book for all courses, which is not even enough. Have to write on the floor in their laps to go home to read and all that. So this foundation seeks to book a child. And book a child is to give, even if it is one exercise book, to each child that we can. So yeah,
awesome.
That is all about Walaho TV. Yeah.
So Walaho is WALAHO, then TV.
Yeah, so you find us on Instagram, on WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Great.
Yeah.
So kindly subscribe so that when they drop every episode, you see it first. So I had Hamdalah on this episode, The Entitlement. I hope that we will learn something from this particular episode and also keep the conversation going. So this is Two Mad Means Podcast. A new week, a new episode. God willing, same time next week, we will drop another episode. Bye.
You try doing you, I'm just doing me. You try doing you, I'm just doing me. You try doing